We continue our interview with Bryan Marler, pastor of Bethel Missionary Baptist Church in Noblesville, Indiana, and his wife Kylie about his struggle with depression that almost killed him. Now, in these series of videos, Bryan lays out his fears, his thoughts, and feelings that almost led him to commit suicide. Now, this video lets Kylie tell her side of the story, what she felt as all of this was happening, and the questions and fears she had for the present and for the future as well. And we're thankful they open up to us.
If you know somebody is having dealing with depression or suicidal thoughts, if they experience a sudden calmness or a sudden disassociation from everything around them, that you should get them help. And
because that, if I can interject, that's what it was that threw me, because we had 1-year-old twins, and we're just in a stressful place in life, and it seemed like there was a lot of times where we would just kind of sit down and just really go, maybe even complain to each other, just be like, wow, today was hard, or, the girls, it took them longer to go to sleep tonight than usual or something. And he wasn't, and it was just kind of our way to decompress is how I always looked at it. And he wasn't, not any conversation, but he just seemed really kind of, in a way, at peace, but not in it's hard to explain. It wasn't a comfortable feeling, obviously. It was an eerie feeling, and I just knew something wasn't right.
so she made me sit down and talk. I just kind of went, I think I need to go to the hospital, because I knew that if I stayed in that house, I wasn't going to wake up there. I don't even remember what our conversation was about. I knew that I needed to go to the hospital, so I called my parents, and they came over, and my mom sat with the girls. My dad actually drove us to the hospital, and that was at it was at 10 o'clock at night. So went to the hospital. They take you to a special part of the hospital with special rooms with nothing in them but a bed. And went through that whole process, which I will not describe in detail, but it was embarrassing, to say the least. And they had somebody come in and talk with me, and basically came to the conclusion that while I was probably a danger to myself, I wasn't as bad as others probably were, but I still needed to be in some sort of program. So they gave me a choice. Either I could go to a partial hospitalization program where I'd go to the hospital during the day and then come home at night, sleep in my bed with my wife, be with my kids, all that kind of stuff, or they can put me in an inpatient facility. And that was actually going to be in Grand Rapids, which was 2 hours away from them. That was my choices. And so I took choice A and went through a partial hospitalization program through the hospital there, was put on medication, took part in group therapy, saw a psychologist and a psychiatrist, and really spent the next 2 weeks, that's how long I was in that program, next 2 weeks addressing something that I had not wanted to address, which was, what's going on. And instead of doing that, I was simply trying to escape the problem. So that really changed everything for us, because I was able to put a face to the demon that I carried around with me and understood it. They had a library of books that you can sit and read during your free time and understand more about what's going on inside your mind and understand why these things happen, and really helped a lot. So
Kylie, what throughout all of this process, what was happening with you? I mean, scared or anything like that?
Yeah, scared. And I remember when he came back from one day at his treatment center. He said, I'm pretty sure I have borderline personality disorder. And I thought, no, that they have it wrong. You don't have that. Because I'm thinking split personality disorder or something. And I'm like, that's not what you have. And he gave me like a pamphlet and he was like, just read it. And so I kind of looked at, we have 2 kids, so I kind of sat it down and, moved on. And then I think the next day when he was gone, I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, this is Bryan. I always thought of him as just an emotional guy, which is something I love about him. It's he loves really strongly. He's very devoted to his family, and so I never really thought of it as any sort of disorder or anything. But reading that, it helped me understand him better. So at first I was scared. I was scared for him. I was honestly scared of what our future looked like in the ministry, of what people would think and what they would say. So, still a young family that I think felt led to still be in the ministry for a while. And I was worried of what other people would think. And then I was worried about how that would affect his mental health if people rejected him because of it. So that was the kind of stuff I was scared of. But I was also thankful for understanding of what goes on in his head. And it's helped, him getting a diagnosis helped me a lot to be able to relate to him and understand why maybe he was fine a minute ago, but all of a sudden he's not anymore. And so I was thankful during that time to have the diagnosis, but I was scared of what our future looked like with the diagnosis. I knew that he was always an emotional guy. Me and his mom had talked about it before. I never thought, well, he might have depression or he might have some. I never thought that because he was the man that I loved. So, I thought, well, I get sad too. I have times where I'm really sad. And all this stuff happened right after I was getting over some postpartum anxiety after having the girls. And so that I think helped me understand it more, but I was still kind of like, well, yeah, like I get sad and I get anxious, but you just get over it. You move on. It lasts for a little bit and then you move on. So I just thought at the time, even when it got really bad, before he came home and told me that he needed to go to the hospital, I just thought, well, it's just a hard time. He's just really stressed out. We have a lot going on. So once this is over, he'll be fine. It's kind of how I viewed it before.
As you can see, we're not talking about a passing negative thought. It is an extended period of time that feels like you're just falling in a deep, dark hole. Now, it's up to you to reach out and to try to stop yourself, but there must be someone to catch them. When we think of the word love and we want to describe it, there are many definitions that come to mind. But I think one that is often overlooked is focus. And by that I mean, do we just live with our spouse under one roof? Or do we focus on what makes them tick? What brings them joy? What brings them sadness? Now, I understand that people can miss the signs of suicide. And those that commit suicide can hide their pain very, very well. But being honest and open about your struggles with your spouse can only help. So if you feel that you're on a downward spiral and you can't stop, I want you to please reach out to someone. Be honest with them and tell them, I need help. When someone does reach out to you, don't dismiss them and try to trivialize their problems, but listen to them and then try to get them the help they need.